Wait, wasn't this supposed to be episode 200? Yes. Yes, it was. So, if you follow me on Facebook and or Twitter, you already know I've had to push back episode 200 until next week, because it simply isn't finished yet. So to fill the gap, I guess I'm going to have to, for the second week in a row here, bring you up to speed on another one of the things that I was working on over the summer break and covered back on episode 198. And yeah, even more mundane than usual. But anyway, in that episode, I devoted a good chunk of it to my bedroom fixer-upper 2004 Onkyo mini stereo, which was fully functional, except for the CD player. It needed a new laser, and I replaced it in that aforementioned episode, and then the mechanism that raises and lowers the whole CD assembly gave on me, and I couldn't get deep enough into that part of the machine, kind of towards the front, to try and fix that. Now, I'd had that Onkyo for 2 years, and I'd already dumped too much money into parts and adapters, and it was always a little jerry-rigged, and I had spent too much time on working on it. And in short, I just got fed up. So I went on Fleabay, and I found this very similar looking, and actually the same dimensions, and allegedly 100% functional, 2002 Denon UD-M30, and it was $70, though it was another $20 for a replacement remote because the seller had lost the original. But these things ran for about $500 new, to put that in perspective. And I am happy to report that the seller was not lying to me. It works beautifully. So let me give my thoughts on this thing. Like the Onkyo, I absolutely hate the remote. And my big issue is that a lot of it just seems redundant. And as far as I'm concerned, they could have done away with probably half the buttons here. So, for example, I'm all for, having the ability to, tune radio stations. But why not just compact it into, if you're in CD mode, let it double as fast forward and rewind, and so on. Or just put them all together in a nice little group. But instead, they've got them spread out all up and down this thing. And I guess the logic is that this was actually meant to be the center of a whole component system. And you could get a matching cassette deck, and it actually played the cassettes on a tray and just loaded CD style. And there was also a CD recorder, a CD burner that you could get for this thing. So I guess you could do transfers or just pirate CDs, I guess. But yeah, I was harping on about too many buttons there, but conversely, there are some examples where I could have done with an extra button. So, there's this button here that says function, right at the tip of my finger. And that takes you through all the functions. Now, that's a pretty major thing, so you'd think it would stand out or be in a more central location. Nah. But funnily enough, you can go straight to the tuner. Can't go straight to the CD player, but you do have that option, so it's like they didn't think it through too well. But then, on a related note, I guess I shouldn't have put the remote down here. The top left button here, right at the tip of my finger, one of the things it says is RDS. And I wish the camcorder would focus. But RDS is Radio Data System. And so, like, in some people's cars, you got the radio on, and it can display what station you're listening to, and what song that station is playing at a given moment. Well, even with the manual, I have yet to figure out how to access this stuff. I mean, I'm not dependent on it or anything, but it would be nice to try out. Now, given that this is a receiver, There is a preamp and some other audio voodoo going on in here. But taken at factory settings, this unit, especially the CD portion, reminds me of those Bose radios that were popular back in the 90s.
Can your radio do this? Only one radio can give you stereo sound this big, yet is small enough to fit almost anywhere. The extraordinary Wave Radio from Bose.
My mom actually still has her old one. But anyway, I'm not a fan of those Bose radios. Even back then, before I got into audio and all, I thought they sounded just kind of weirdly, artificially pumped up, for lack of a better term. And I don't have the original speakers for this Denon. I just carried over the $30-ish Dayton speakers that I used with the Onkyo. But having said that, those speakers don't carry any special response curve or anything like that. So it's not the speakers. And actually, I personally prefer a flat-ish frequency response with my stereo stuff. About the worst I ever do, at least prior to this, is like my bedroom is very live. It's not treated at all. And so I'll turn the bass down a tad because it'll just kind of bounce off the walls and maybe even overwhelm everything else a bit. So I'll do that, but here it's the inverse, but I'll get back to that. But anyway, I think I found the culprit of the Bose syndrome. This has something called SDB. And it's on, not that you'd ever hear it. And that stands for Super Dynamic Bass, which seems to dink with more than just the bass. And it is fairly easy to bump it on. But for whatever reason, it seems to affect the CD player more than anything else. But having said that, even with SDB off, this thing still pushes, again, for lack of a better term, more sound than the Onkyo did. And it also favors higher frequencies than the Onkyo did. So, once again, same speakers. So, whereas I'd normally have to cut the bass a little, here I find myself periodically cutting the treble a notch. So, yeah, quirky. Anyway, let's take a cut here and we'll look at the back. So I mentioned back on episode 198 that the telescoping whip antenna on the Onkyo just wasn't cutting it. And given the screw-on antenna attachment for the Onkyo, that didn't allow for a plain wire antenna, which is kind of what I prefer. So I just did the old school ghetto trick of tying a piece of split-off speaker wire to the whip, and lo and behold, it worked beautifully. Now, this unit actually uses I guess it's a European-styled connector. It just pops on and off, aerial style. Actually, I think it is aerial. But that allows for a wire antenna if you have the right adapter. But this unit came with no antenna stuff. But in the name of testing it, when I first got it, it was just dumb luck that I had a little bag of generic adapters, and it was for another project, and it was just dumb luck that I had the right one. So again, just in the name of making sure this worked, I just took this antenna off the Onkyo, attached my little piece, plugged it in, and it works great. I get all the local stations and even a couple of regional ones. And so I could get the proper adapter for this and do the wire antenna thing properly, but it works so well, what I've got here, even though it's a little ghetto. For the time being, I'm going with the if it ain't broke, don't fix it attitude. Anyway, moving on, the connections are nothing special. We've got two sets of phono inputs and outputs, one optical output, which only runs audio from CDs, And we've got old-fashioned wire speaker terminals. And we've also got the option of running mono or stereo subwoofer stuff, or you can run to another preamp if you want to, some more power. Although this thing is plenty powerful as far as I'm concerned. Then we've got wire terminals for an AM loop antenna. This is the same one from the Onkyo. And we've got the aforementioned FM connector. Now, I used to keep a cheap but decent turntable hooked up to the Onkyo, and it was the same one that you saw in archive for years and years. But I wound up taking it out last year because I was always taking my vinyl to my good direct drive unit on my big stereo. And so the cheapie was just sitting there collecting dust. So the only thing I keep routinely hooked up to this is a basic Y cable, 1/8 inch to phono. But with that, I can hook up an iPod, a phone, if I'm desperate, a cassette Walkman or a mini disc Walkman, and just anything with a headphone jack. So that's all I'm doing with this thing right now, aside from what's already built in. And otherwise, despite all my little nitpicks with this thing, this Denon has been serving me quite nicely these few weeks that I've had it. I'm just having some trouble getting used to that quirky remote. But anyway, I am not going to demo this. I hate doing that to you on a Ben's Junk, but all the quirks of this are dependent on what's hooked up to it in terms of speakers, and I can't reproduce that for you on a YouTube video. If I run out of here, it's just going to be, straight like binary CD audio. It's not going to have any special characteristic to it. So just know that this unit has got a perfectly solid CD player and a perfectly solid AM/FM radio in it, and the rest of it is just tuning the thing to your own personal tastes. So that is truly it for today, and I promise I will have episode 200 out next week, and if I'm going to hold to that promise, I better get back to work on it. I'll talk to you again soon.
Order now and take advantage of our 12-month interest-free payment plan.